First, let's go to Rosiland Jordan, who's at the US State Department in Washington, D.C. Robert Ford left the country once before and then went back. Now he's leaving again. Is it for his own personal safety, as was said the first time, or is it a statement of intent by the United States of isolating Syria further?
David, what State Department officials are saying is that this is because the Syrian government has failed to address the U.S. government's concerns about the growing amount of violence in Damascus, particularly in the neighborhood where the U.S. Embassy and several other foreign governments have their embassy operations. They say that the government has not done enough to make certain that the embassy and its property are not being affected by the ongoing violence, and because of that, the decision was made over this weekend to pull Ambassador Ford and the remaining staffers, about 15 or 16 people, out of the embassy. There had been a ratcheting down in terms of staff levels in the past several months, but this is what they're calling now a suspension of activities. All of the embassy officials have left Syria, and there's also a travel warning issued this morning here in Washington telling all remaining U.S. citizens inside Syria to leave the country. Only in an emergency can the Polish government step in to help any U.S. citizens who are still in Syria, but for all intents and purposes, U.S. citizens are being told to get out.
Ros, thank you very much indeed. Right, let's go to Rory, Challands, who's in Moscow. Sergei Lavrov arriving in Damascus, we think, sometime tomorrow, saying he's determined to stop the violence. How does he think he's going to do that?
Well, what Sergei Lavrov is going to be saying to President Bashar al-Assad in Damascus on Tuesday is essentially, look, we stepped up for you at the UN and the Security Council. We put our necks out, and now it's time for you to actually help us out and really make some quick democratic changes that will diffuse the violence and help the situation in Syria. Some people have spoken here in Moscow that maybe Lavrov might even go as far as pushing for Assad to step down. That certainly is possible, but I don't think Russia really has a particular problem with Assad as a person. What they want to avoid at all costs is a chaotic collapse of the government in Syria, because that would essentially jeopardize Russian interests in Syria, and it would also, as they think, destabilize the region and threaten sort of the more volatile areas of Russia's south. Also, Russia is very interested in giving America a bit of a bloody nose, and any chance that it can take to do that on a diplomatic stage, it will do.
Rory, Challands, thank you very much indeed. One of our team covering events in Syria, Rory in Moscow.